All right, so Steve talked about why the landscape, how that had changed about teaching computer science. So I was wanting to really say how really teaching computer science is an absolute gift, that computing is the best thing ever that you can teach. And how many other sort of subjects are you going to have where people just want to be begging you to tell them more? So why is teaching computing such a gift? Well, I think because it's got three aspects. It's relevant, so everyone can relate to it, they can see what it's all about. It's practical, so kids can actually go and do things, they can make things. It's not just, this is a, can we do something with the sound? It's just ringing a bit and it's putting me off slightly. And it just makes it so that they can make, what you tell them about things, they can actually discover for themselves. And then also, it's accessible. So I think computing is brilliant in the fact that anybody can get into it. All the software is available for free online, and in terms of the Raspberry Pi, you've got hardware which is really affordable. So the other thing is, so people think, you know, computing is relevant. Some people think it's all about machines on desktops and just using Facebook and Hotmail. But what some people don't realise is just how prevalent computing is. So I thought that it would just be interesting to think about what happens on your typical day. So this morning, got up, turned my alarm off, so there's a computer in the household alarm system. But even before that, there's been a computer which has been keeping my house nice and warm because it's in the central heating system. Then you've got DAB, digital radio, so you've got computers which is part of entertainment. Then, of course, driving in, there's a computer doing engine management, all the various things within a car. And then you've got sat-nav, that's another embedded system. You've got satellites on the old GPS, computers on the GPS satellites. Then when you do get here, you pay for parking, that's an embedded computer. That's, you know, so basically you've got this computer which is doing some sort of input and output. It takes the input, which is money, what time people arrive, prints out you a ticket, does all your banking sort of information, tram ticket, for instance. Then, of course, you've got mobiles. They're all embedded computers, so typically you might take a picture of something, tweet it, send it to Facebook. Vending machines, that's one which was possibly less successful example of a computer because it's got blue screen of death on it from Windows. And then, of course, there's the mobile, you know, traditional laptops. So you might have seen me earlier finishing my talk off 10 minutes before. So basically the point I'm making is that computers make a big impact on our lives, and therefore for children, if they're interested in, you know, all the different interests, you'll find an aspect which you can relate to with computers and to tie in with that. So let's move on. So I said it shows three things. It shows that we need, with this big demand for lots of computers, we need to have lots of people working, and at the moment there's a skills shortage. It also shows that bad things will happen if we don't get things right. So there's an importance of teaching good computer science. And then the third point was just as an example of, you know, what happens when we don't get things right, that computers make mistakes. So I've just a bit of fun here, scale of inconvenience about when things go wrong. So, which was apt. So basically, you know, things which are a bit inconvenient. If computers go wrong, me embedded computer and my electric toothbrush, I can't clean my teeth. I'll just have to do it by hand. Can't listen to the radio. Then you get in more significant things of inconvenient. You've got a cold house because the central heating system's not worked. Then, you know, I've been charged £20 for parking because the parking machine doesn't work. Or I've parked in Manchester Central, in which case that's perfectly normal. And then you can get to the you know, bigger stages of things not going well, that you've got a multiple car pile up because traffic lights don't work, or you've got, you know, safety critical systems. And then finally, you lose pictures of kittens because, but I mean, it's a bit of a frivolous point, but what I'm making though is that suddenly we now all become the need for everyone to become knowledgeable about backup. Because if you think about how many pictures, all your music that you're storing on a computer, if that goes, then you're losing something which is really quite significant, quite personal to you. So my in this whole sort of things about getting people more interested in computer science and knowing about the importance of computer science, suddenly it's now everyone needs to know about backup. Now some people say, oh, it will all be taken care of in the cloud. Well, it doesn't work properly. That might come eventually, but just at the moment it's not reliable enough for people to say, I don't need to know anything about computers. So we've sort of covered why computing is important and how it's also relevant. So now getting on to how you can teach it, which is sort of fun, and we get on to the practical side of things. And that is really where the gift is, because you can give people things that they can hold, things that they can make. Kids really like just telling computers to do something and then seeing it obey their instructions. And so this is an example of a robot that we've got. We've got other, like we were saying with the embedded machines, like the car parking machine, you can take the principles behind that, where you've got the input and the process and the output, and turn it into something fun. So Carrie-Anne has got her little box of geek, which I think she'll show you later, which is an embedded system, really. And you can see that the principles that you learn to produce that is the same principles that you learn to build a car park payment machine or things like that. You can make little robot buggies, which we've got. Another thing I want to introduce is the Techno Bird Box. So this is an example. We found that some people are interested in nature, and therefore that's the primary interest. And what we can do, we can hook onto the back of that this robotic, well, possibly not robotic, it depends, bird box, which has got, I'll just try and point, just across the opening, there's an infrared beam, so that when the birds fly in, then it will trigger the camera, so it will take a picture, and then also it will upload the information onto a website. So then people can start watching bird activity from anywhere in the world. You can then get multiple schools doing this, and you can aggregate all that data together. You can combine it with weather data, so you can get all sorts of trends and see how activity is related to weather and cross-correlates. That's examples in data mining. And so, yeah, so we've built that. We'll put plans online, and people will be able to build their own later. Yeah. And that is everything I've spoken about on that. So I'm at the Raspberry Jam. So far I've just talked about computers and embedded computers. Well, the Raspberry Pi is really the first device in the world to enable you to really have this excitement about computers, and because it's the only computer that has the performance and the size that you can, for $30, put within a bird box or other applications, or within the little box of geek. And so really, the Raspberry Pi is come at this brilliant time when we want to get more people into computer science. We've got lots of things that they can do, like the tweeting bird box, and they've now got the technology to do it. So this is a Raspberry Pi. It's got a Pi face, which is an interface on top. Is there a picture? Yep. So basically, it just gives you an easy way to get input and output. There's other ways of doing it, but at the time there wasn't, so I came up with Pi face. And I don't know if Christine Swan is in. She's somewhere around at the conference. What she's done with her, you can't quite see that on the slide, but she's done with her class is there's a Raspberry Pi and a mobile phone battery, and she's built this little robot Buggy, connected it with a Pi face, and you can see the happy smiley faces of the children. And they've suddenly got this computer that can run around. It's no longer tied to a desk. And so therefore, it can go anywhere. And without the Raspberry Pi, the performance that they'd have wouldn't be possible. So just quickly cover one or two other activities. We've got the Scalextric, which is the Raspberry Pi controls the power for the Scalextric set. The two Toms, just wave, Tom and Tom. They're responsible for that. They're a couple of my students. And basically, that gives you, it attracts children in so they can see that the Scalextric, and then they can write a program which might be a quiz. Here they've just got the buttons to answer the question, and that controls the power on the Scalextric. So the final thing, which is the Twittering Chicken, which unfortunately is still making its way back from Germany. But we've got a prototype Twittering Chicken. If you Google it online, then you'll see that we've got a little soft toy which has been hacked with a Raspberry Pi in it. if somebody tweets, it does text-to-speech, so it reads it out, and also the chicken moves and dances. And these things really do capture people's imagination. So, as I was saying, I think computing is an absolute gift to teach because you can do all sorts of fun. You can play, basically. You get your children to play and make these sort of things.
Great. Thank you, Andrew Robinson.